right, we are going to do something I've wanted to do for a very long time now. We're going to talk all about the capsule collections from Mob Beauty. And I have received these in PR, and I've also tried a lot from Mob Beauty over the past couple of years. So hopefully my experience with the products will help to provide you some insight as well. I also do have a discount affiliate code with Mob Beauty. This is a very new program, but I'm very glad they're going to be doing this because it's nice to have a little bit of a discount on the website, and it is an affiliated code, so thank you so much if you use it. I'm going to pop it up on the screen now. Each of these capsule collections was done in collaboration with a content creator. They all include a palette, which typically have 4 pans of products, although one of them has 3 pans, and several of them also include a lip product. I'm going to do some overhead swatches and tutorial looks. Let's go ahead and dive into it. This is the Disco Roller Rink palette that was done in collaboration with Sarah Rosie. It includes 2 cream clay shadows. One is a rich brown and one is a cerulean blue. These cream clay shadows are truly unlike anything that I've tried. If you're new to the cream clay shadow formula, dip your toes in before getting a bunch. If you want to minimize creasing and get a longer wear, I prefer using a translucent setting powder, or I like to use them as bases for shimmer shadows. As you can see, the Disco Roller Ring palette also has a sparkle. This is the OG Suspended Sparkle Balm. For my first look that I did with this palette, I was inspired by 70s eyeshadow looks. I put that bright bold blue all over the lid and then put that sparkle balm on top and some very bold mascara and some graphic liner components, which was actually really big in the 70s apparently. And this is my first completed look. All right, let's dip into this Disco Roller Ring palette. I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. I love this chocolatey brown. It's just so pigmented. Actually, all of the cream clay shadows are, and they're such a joy to work with. And I think that this palette in particular is a really good one if you want to play with a pop of color, because you have the neutral brown that is going to be approachable for a lot of people, and then you can just add a pop of blue to your look, to the lower lash line, which is what we're going to do here. But you see how just effortlessly that blended out. You could actually blend it with your finger too, and you're going to get the same the same type of seamless blend. These are just so fun to work with, unlike any formula that I've tried in my collection. And in under 2 minutes, we have a brown smoky eye using just one product. Now, if I was going to go about my day, I would set this with a setting powder if I wanted to kind of get the max longevity, least amount of creasing. Mob Beauty has a setting powder. You can use really any setting powder, but since I am going to be doing a bunch of looks, I'm not going to do that. But I do want to go into this blue and use it on the lower lash line, because I think if you were playing around with color for the first time and just wanted to add, a pop of color, this is really one of the easiest and most fun ways to do that. So just adding it all along the lower lash line. All right, and this is the OG Suspended Sparkle Balm. It wasn't created for this collection like these 2 shades were. And the kind of general idea is that it's a clear balm that has sparkle suspended in it. So kind of a similar idea to the Fenty Diamond Balm. And I'm just taking that and placing it all over the lid for some extra sparkle. Added a little bit of the black mascara, which I find to be quite volumizing. And for my blush, I'm gonna use the red one that Monica made for her kind of red blush, red lipstick collection that came out over the summer. And this is quite a pigmented formula, so I'm just going to go in with a light hand. Something I really love about the Cream Clay blush formula is that it is quite buildable. You can wear this for a very high opacity and intensity if you want, or you can just use it as, you know, a soft wash. This is the blush applied on both cheeks. For my lip combo, so there wasn't a lip product included in the collection, I'm gonna use the Unearthly lip liner, and this is the shade Reap. It's one of the shades that came out this year in their shade extension. And then the soft mocha brown lipstick in M171. This was a collab shade with Courtney Quarantine. Really beautiful nude shade on me, although I do prefer this lipstick with a lip liner. And here is the completed look using the Disco Roller Ring palette. Really easy, but impactful. The second capsule collection we have is Southern Goth. This was done in collaboration with Jessica Hayes. Jessica has done so much work with Mob Beauty, and her sense of style and sense of color just continue to amaze me. And this palette has 3 cream clay shadows and 1 suspended sparkle bomb, and that suspended sparkle bomb is green. All of these shades were designed with Jessica. I love the murkiness of the tones in here, the warmth, the grunge. And this green sparkle bomb is beautiful. I think it's honestly my favorite sparkle bomb that Mob has come out with. The collection also comes with a really pigmented lip balm. This is M155 and it's described as a smoky plum. All right, for my first look, I really wanted to create a halo. I started off with that mauve-y toned cream clay shadow as a base and just put it all over the lids. Then I used that green to create the halo shape. I put that green suspended sparkle bomb all over the lid, the brow bone, and then had to use that mauve-y toned cream clay shade as a blush. And of course, the lip balm to finish off the look. All right, for my second look, I want to play around with Southern Goth, which is definitely one of my favorite capsule collections that Mob Beauty has done. This was in collaboration with Jessica Hayes, and I do want to do one of the placements that she did. So in one of her tutorials on Instagram. So I'm gonna start off by putting this olive green on sort of the inner portion of the lid as sort of my pop of color. This is definitely the kind of color that I think would be so pretty all on its own. Super pigmented, something that you can always depend on with cream clay shadows in general is that the way that they look in the pan is typically the way that they're going to look on your skin. Now I'm going to go in with this deep kind of warm toned grungy brown in the outer corner and build up a little bit of depth for my then I'm going to take a brush and just kind of blend the two of these together. Connect it a little bit to the lower lash line and just smoke it out a little bit for a soft diffused wing. All right, I did the same on both eyes, and I'm gonna go in with this beautiful mauve tone and just add it to the lower lash line. And you know I have to use the green suspended sparkle bomb. Just gonna place a little bit over the green cream clay shadow. Oh yeah. And this will also be a really pretty highlighting shade, so I have to add a little bit to the brow bone as well and to the inner corner. All right, I added a little bit of burgundy mascara. This actually just came out and it was also done in collaboration with Jessica Hayes. I just think the tones of this mascara are perfect for Southern Goth. And for my blush, I'm actually going to use one of the cream clay shadows from this collection, the mauve toned one, because this is actually a really beautiful blush shade. And it's kind of like, you know, a brown tone blush, but it has, because it has some mauve in it, I personally think that it's beautiful. And since I've used it on the lower lash line, I think it ties together really well. So here is what that cream clay shadow looks like applied, and these work beautifully and last beautifully as blushes too. So if you have cream clay shadows or you're curious about trying them, I highly recommend applying them as a blush too. And then of course finishing off the look with M155. This is a smoky plum lip balm and it has a little bit of a coolness to it. Just something about it goes so well with the tones in this collection. All right, and here is the completed look using all of the shades in Southern Goth, including the M155 Smoky Plum Lip Balm. I don't think it's actually called Smoky Plum, but I always think of it as the Smoky Plum Lip Balm. The third capsule collection we're going to go into is Trad Goth. This was actually also done in collaboration with Jessica Hayes. It came out earlier this year, more kind of around springtime, I want to say. In this palette, you get 4 powder shadows, and that white is not a stark white. It's maybe just slightly off-white. Hopefully you can see when you see the shades on my fingertip, and my favorite shade is that beautiful kind of gunmetal shimmer. It has a little bit of a duochrome purple shift. Now with these mattes, they work really beautifully. You do have to like sort of build them up, but they are so buildable and blendable. And one of the things I love about this formula is that you really don't get fallout when you are using these mattes. The collection also has a gloss. This is called Haze, and this is a milky toned gray. Now, I do think that if you have a lighter skin tone, you're going to have an easier time getting this gloss to work for you. It's a little stark on me personally. And then here is the look that I first created with the palette. I used that black to carve out a halo shape, and then I put that beautiful shimmer all over the lid and the lower lash line. To incorporate the white, I put it on the inner corner and brow bone, lined my lips with a heavy black lip liner, and went into the center of the lip with Haze. This is my first completed look. All right, now we're gonna play around with Trad Goth, and I wanna do something simple. I just wanna put this black all over the lid. I love that this shade, even though it's very pigmented, is not too powdery. It makes it even easier to work with and to blend. It's going to be a base for the shimmer shadow, so I don't feel like it has to be perfect, but that being said, I do find it very easy to work with. Almost like, feels like it could be a cream to powder texture. All right, I put that shade on both lids, and I love the fact that it really doesn't even look patchy around the edges. I was going to go in a little bit with the gray shade just to soften, but I don't know if I really need to because I feel like it looks pretty well blended on both sides, maybe just a little bit. I'm just gonna add a little to the lower lash line. Now, of course, for the shimmer, this is Milky Way. It's one of my favorite shimmers from Beaute, and just has like a really pretty kind of duochrome shift. Kind of like an amped up shimmer formula, to be honest. Like, I feel like in the past couple of collections, they've really started to step up, and this shimmer is definitely one of those stepped up shimmers. Here's what it looks like applied all over the lid and on both eyes. And I'm gonna take the smallest dusting of this shade and add it as a brow bone highlight. Just really sheerly. and maybe just the tiniest bit on the inner corner as well. And for my blush, I'm gonna go into M114. This is a custom palette that I made. It's not a pre-made palette, and it is a cream clay shadow, but as I previously mentioned, I like using these as blushes, and I feel like I want something that feels cool toned for this look. Yeah, that is a beautiful blush shade. And finish off the look with Dark Star. Now this collection actually came with a milky gray gloss, and I think it's beautiful. It's just really hard for me to get that gloss to work on my skin tone. I think if you have lighter skin and you like tones like that, you're gonna love it. But Dark Star is one of my favorite glosses of the year, and I think it goes really well with this look. Also a collab shade with Jessica Hayes. And here is my completed look using Trad Goth. All right, fourth capsule collection I have is Revery, and this is the most recent collection that's come out from Mob, and it was done in collaboration with Courtney Quarantine. What's really fun about this palette is that you get 4 different formulas. So if you are new to Mob Beauty and you want to test out 4 different formulas, then you get a cream clay shadow, a powder matte shadow, a powder shimmer shadow, and a suspended sparkle bomb. The first shade is a really grungy brown shade. That's a cream clay shadow. And the second shade is a grungy green. That's a powder shadow. The third shade is a purple shimmer, and this shimmer has quite a lot of impact. And the fourth shade is a golden suspended sparkle bomb. This collection also includes a really beautiful and unique gloss shade. This is called Linger. And this is a shade unlike I've seen before. It's like a grungy gray brown. Jumping into my look using the Revery palette, I am going to start off by dipping into this grungy brown cream clay shadow and just use it as a base. I do get a little bit of pigment from it, but it is pretty close to my skin tone. And normally I like to put shimmer on the center of the lid, but for this look, I want to use the depth of this purple shimmer and use it to create a bit more of a definition and shape. So I'm going to use it to create a bit of a halo effect, placing it on the inner and the outer portion of the lid, because I really want the star of the show, or at least, the center of the lid, to be the suspended sparkle bomb, because it's a beautiful sparkle bomb. I also like just trying to be able to use all of the shades in the palette as well. So now I'm gonna connect it to the lower lash line and then place a little bit of purple on the inner portion of the lid as well. All right, I added the purple to both eyes, and I am going to use this grungy toned kind of murky green powder matte in the center of the lower lash line. And now for my favorite part, we're going to go in with the golden suspended sparkle bomb, and just going to put that into the center of the lid for a pop of shimmer. And of course a little bit on the brow bone and inner corner. This cream clay shadow happens to be another shade that I really love as a blush, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply it. You all know I love my brown blushes, did a whole video on them, and I know I'm not the only one that has used this as a blush. I know Courtney has said that she also likes using the shade as a blush. It just has a bit of warmth to it that, in my opinion, makes it just kind of work. And no, I don't think it's too muddy. I think it's beautiful as a blush. And to finish off the look, I'm gonna go in with Linger. This is part of the collection actually, and it's actually my favorite part of the collection. I would describe it as a sort of brown toned gray gloss. And it's quite deep, it's very pigmented, and I think it is definitely a shade that will work for a wide range of skin tones. And here is my completed look using the Revery collection. All right, next collection we have is called Late Night, and this was done in collaboration with Megan Robinson. And in this palette, you get 4 shades, 1 powder shimmer, 2 powder mattes, and a really interesting suspended sparkle bomb. And I have to say that this color story conceptually challenged me the most. These are just not shades that I would have thought to put together, but somehow they just work. I was also pleasantly surprised to find that these powder mattes actually looked deeper on my skin than they did in the pan, especially when I put them on my eyes. The collection also includes a mauve toned gloss, and this is called Riff. Here's what the whole collection looks like swatched on the back of my hand. And for my first look, I started off with that murky green matte and I put it all over the lid, then that really rich evergreen shimmer and topped it with the suspended sparkle bomb, and finished off the look with a lip combo that had to include Riff. And here is my first completed look. Now we're gonna dip into Late Night, and I'm gonna start off with this kind of grayish shade here and just use that all over the lid. This is a powder formula, and this actually looks deeper on the skin than it does in the pan, because I honestly wasn't sure how this would show up on me, but I was pleasantly surprised. Another shade I think would be really pretty just as a one and done shade. I'm gonna put this kind of murky green matte in the outer corner. Again, I'm not sure exactly how much depth I'm gonna get from it, but oh, I think that's just enough. This gorgeous green shimmer that I always think of when I think of the palette, I'm gonna put that on the lower lash line for a pop of color. And then this beautiful kind of silvery taupe suspended sparkle bomb, I'm gonna put that all over as my lid shade. Oh, that is gorgeous. Of course, just a little bit on the brow bone and the inner corner. For my blush, I'm going to use a little bit of M114. I think I used this in a previous look, and I just think the tones of this will also go really well with the tones in this palette. And the gloss that came out with this collection is called Riff. It's sort of like a mid-toned mauve gloss. Just gonna add a little bit to the center of my lip. And this is the final completed look using the Late Night collection in collaboration with Megan Robinson. Okay, and the last capsule collection I have is Grunge Core, which was also done in collaboration with Kourtney Quarantine. This collection came out, I want to say exactly a year ago. My eyes were drawn immediately to the red tones. I've learned that red tones are really hard to accomplish in eyeshadow and highlighter, especially when it comes to vegan formulas, which mobs are. In this collection, you get a red cream clay shadow, you have a powder shimmer, and this shimmer is very reflective. Kourtney wanted an amped up shimmer formula, and I would say this definitely is. You have a powder mocha brown shade. This is quite similar to the lip product in the collection, and a beigey kind of camel toned shimmer. The last piece in the collection is M171, which is a soft matte lipstick, and it's a really pretty mocha brown nude, pretty close to a concealer lip for me. For the first look I did with this palette, I used that camel matte all over the lid. Then I went in with the red cream clay shadow, topped it with that beautiful red shimmer, added a little bit of the camel shimmer. I also used the red cream clay shadow as a blush. My lip combo included a rich brown liner from Beaute and, of course, M171. And here's my first completed look using Grunge Core. All right, the sixth and final palette we're playing with is Grunge Core, also in collaboration with Courtney Quarantine. Of course, I have to go in with this red cream clay shadow. I actually want to recreate one of Courtney's looks that she first did when this palette came out. I want to say this is like her signature look. Basically put down a bunch of red cream clay shadow all over the eyes. Now just taking a fluffier blending brush around those edges to soften them. Next, she took this really kind of reflective red shimmer and put it all over the lid. Now she said when this palette came out that this was the shiniest shimmer, powder shimmer, that Mob had come out with, and I agree. I feel like this shimmer was definitely a turning point. I really do love using the cream clay shadows as a base for shimmers. And now we're gonna take this kind of grungy mocha brown matte and put it all over the lower lash line. Just like a little bit of color underneath the lower lash line. And then she took a little bit of the OG Suspended Sparkle Balm and just put a little bit on the center of the lid and a little bit on the brow bone, just for a little extra sparkle. Now I'm just gonna finish off the look with a little bit of this black creamy liner. This is one of the new liners from Blend Bunny. I think that she actually used a cake liner from Mob, but I don't have that. So we're just gonna improvise. All right, eyes are finished, and I'm very tempted to use this as a blush because I love a good monochromatic moment. And I know that Courtney also likes using this red cream lace shadow as a blush. Finishing off the look with M171, which is also a part of the Grunge Core collection. This is a soft matte lipstick, and it's basically like sort of a mocha brown. Kind of like the Pantone of the Year color. And this is my completed look using the Grunge Core collection. All right, now that I've had a chance to dive into playing with 6 capsule collections from Beaute, let's close up with some wrap-up thoughts. I absolutely love these collections. I look forward to them so much. They're probably one of my favorite things that Beaute comes out with, if not my favorite thing. It always feels like there's just so much thought that goes into every single one, and because they're in collaboration with different creators, we bring in, you know, all these different ideas and inspiration, and I really love that. I'm not gonna rank these because I know the other creators, and I feel like that would just be really hard to do. I don't think that you can go wrong with any of them, but obviously, you're going to be drawn to one color story more than another. These are very different color stories, but I love the fact that these products are multi-use, so you can use them on your cheeks, on your lips if you want to. So even though you get, you know, 4, these are basically like 4 pans in most of them, except for the Sarah Rosie one, which was 3 pans. There's lots of possibilities for what you can do with them. Like this, I mean, especially like the Suspended Sparkle Balm can be used in so many different ways. The cream clay shadows can be used in so many different ways. Another thing that you can do, in case you didn't realize it, is that you can buy single pans. So if you really loved this palette, this Revery palette, but you really only wanted the cream clay shadow and the suspended sparkle bomb, you could do that as well, which is really nice because you could build your own palette. There are also several times a year that there's build your own palette sales. In case you're curious about that and want to wait for one of those, that is another option. My own personal favorite collection is the Southern Goth collection. I just really love the tones in here. And this olive green cream clay shadow combined with this green suspended sparkle bomb is just so dreamy. So this one definitely won my heart. And I think the Disco Roller Rink collection is probably a close second. I just really love this bright, bold blue, and I've gotten a ton of use out of this rich brown cream clay shadow as well. The collection that probably surprised me the most is the Late Night collection because I ended up really loving the look that I created with it, and I'm very inspired to use this one more. I was really pleasantly surprised that I got more depth from a few of the shades, especially like these two shades looked deeper when I applied them than they did in the pan. So I feel like this one I'm actually going to get quite a bit more use out of than I had originally thought. Now that we've had a chance to go through everything, I would really love to hear what you thought of these collections. Have you tried any of these collections from Mob Beauty? Do you have any on your wish list? Did you know that you can build your own palettes? Let me know in the comments. I also am planning to do a full dedicated Mob Beauty video in the coming week or two. So in case you want to hear my thoughts on all of the products that I've tried from Mob Beauty, which is quite a few, I will definitely be back to do that with a more dedicated video. As always, I really hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.